You know, I'm going to be absolutely honest. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to own a place which is going to have something as exotic as this. Alright, what do we have here? These are two absolutely enormous boilers that I'm pretty sure were lowered into the basement of this building. And to give you context here, this building here is 120 years old. Buildings that last that long have spurts of poor maintenance, but at other times they do have, well, times of being well maintained. These boilers here, I'm fairly certain at some point, were converted from coal to natural gas. Yeah, made in Canada. Both these bad boys here have a mountain of asbestos on top of them. Whatever, I'll deal with that in 20 years. And a complete nightmare of plumbing. Every single one of those valves there deals for the outlets to the zones. There's another set of valves here behind every single one of these pipes, which are the return manifold, which goes back to the boiler. Most of this is still encased in asbestos, and it's had a couple of upgrades over the years. I can't help but notice I had to convert a lot of these Minneapolis Honeywell and just regular Honeywell thermostats and thermal cutouts from 120 volts to 24 volts. That's why you have some nice wiring like this. And the answer for that is actually hiding over here. If I can grab it, there we go. This is what you run into in these old buildings, is a lot of fibrous and worn out wiring. So, in other words here, this has been my responsibility on and off to keep this boiler from being condemned, because if you take any other repair shop, plumbing shop to come in here and try and do anything with any of this, you're going to end up with someone running away screaming and then saying, oh, by the way, your boilers are condemned, you can't use them. They are running. There's actually, the floor is dry. There's no leaks. There's no serious corrosion issues. I have to flush them somewhat regularly, and, well, most of the valves work. But it isn't to say that all of the valves work. In previous as well, I've had this circulator pump replaced, which is why it has a blue motor with a red circulator pump housing. And there's been odd plumbing changes. For example, we have this beautiful valve here. Again, it's pretty much stuck, but over here, kind of, you can see there's been another valve that's been deleted completely. This one here, it's strange how circulator pumps work. There's two in the entire building here. So when the thermostat calls, both boilers fire and begin heating up. There's a circulator pump, that's actually the motor for it there, I'll explain it, over here, which begins to circulate water throughout the entire system. This way here, it evenly heats up all the water, and it more efficiently uses the gas that's burning to keep the boilers going. Once you get to a certain temperature, however, this thermostat here turns on this pump, and this can also add to the circulating of the water throughout the entire system. Then once the system satisfies, the boilers will turn off, that circulator pump will turn off, and this will continue to run until the water temperature in the system drops below its set point again, which I believe is 145 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's all there is. And for the last 2 years, this has had a blown coupling. Everything's got cobwebs here. That just gives you an idea of just how long it's been like this. But surprisingly, after a lot of hard work, ta-da! Coupling! And a lot of embarrassment to find out that, these are actually not that difficult to find. So, follow along as I get to figure out, after almost 2 years, how to get this attached to this, and then attached to that stupid mount there, and then we can continue on with running the system. Now, I have overhauled the wiring in this whole thing. There was actually a set of 2 relays here originally, and they were causing me nothing but grief. In fact, this one here was only causing one of the two boilers to work. So I decided to go away with all of that, and because I had this transformer here, I added this cabinet. Now everything is relay driven. So even with the ability to go with, can I bend it correctly? Yes. The ability to just put one jumper here, and if I take that jumper off, it's as simple as that. Now, at the same time, I was able to take care of the low voltage side of everything. Great, but we need to do work on the high voltage side. So obviously the first thing you do is to turn off the boiler main power. Oops, sorry, it looks like the electrical outlet as well for this room is on that same breaker. So, instead, there are these that have been wired in. This is the disconnect switch. There's the pump relay there for the blue motor. And this one here is for the recirculator that's currently got the blown coupling. Someone's turned that on. There, now we've isolated. We can get on to actually working. Oh, it's such a pain in the ass to get in here. Alright, where was I? Oh, hey, a wire nut. Okay, so power is off. Plumbing, I don't know where the hell it goes. Make sure that's figured out, that's fine. So, what I'm doing here is I'll take off our 4 nuts. We'll take our coupler, this doohickey here, and I don't believe there is a preferred side to this. They look exactly the same. So there is actually an indent on the bearing here. You probably can't, here, can I get this closer? Whatever. There's actually a drilling right here on the side of the shaft, and that's supposed to meet up with the set screw. So, get that on there. Alright, and now there's the same thing on here. So I have to pick this thing up, hold it in place, line it up with one of the windows on the side here, so then I can tighten in the set screw. I believe I can do if I just go like that. This is going to take a couple of tries. I think I got it. Now, rotate this into position. And get at least 2 nuts on this, and I'll try and see if I can spin this by hand before I turn the motor on, and if I'm wrong, it'll trash the thing immediately. Half-inch wrench. Seems like it's going to be okay. All right, 2 more bolts. All right, now the wiring. No ground wire. Fun! Alright, well, we can just assume that the boiler here is ground. Alright. Now, one thing you're checking when you blow your couplings up is whether or not your rubber mounts have sagged. The motor itself flexes a bit on these rubber mounts. And what will happen is that over time it'll actually sag on the rubber, and you'll end up seeing like less rubber down here, more rubber up here. This causes a misalignment in the coupler, and that's what causes it to wear out to the point of blowing apart. This one here was fine, but yeah, if I didn't check for that, more than likely I'd put the new coupler in a couple of months it'd blow apart again anyways. All right, well, I'm gonna finish cleaning up the wiring, but first let's go and see if I can make this thing turn on at all. Now, what I did off camera here, sorry folks, is that I actually went and pulled all of the relays out of here. Mainly because, well, sure, I don't want the pumps to be powered at all, but I totally forgot, yeah, with the relays still in there, the boilers can still turn on. I mean, it's not fatal in this situation here, because if we turn around and look at the boilers, you see those? That there? This is your buddy right here. That is the extreme high temperature lockout unit. If the boiler goes way too hot and the outlet gets way too hot, even without water circulation, the red button on the bottom there will pop out like a circuit breaker, and it'll lock out the boiler and prevent the boiler from firing itself. Both of them have one of these. There's also additional interlocks located on either side of the manifold, so there's a fair bit of security that's been wired into this thing. And it's all been converted to 24 volts, like I said. It makes more sense to allow, if there is a short or failure in this old wiring, 24 volts at like a negligible amount of milliamps, as opposed to 120 volts and, I don't know, 15 amps. But the point I'm doing this is that because while we were working and wiring that all in, and I pop this relay in. Uh-oh. So the relays are now clicking, which means the thermostat's now calling for heat. Obviously the solution was to go upstairs and turn off the thermostat, but this here is a much more physical lockout. Anyways, so now it's calling, so I'm going to put in the pump relay there, and in theory, when I turn this on, we should hear this relay close, and we'll hear the circulator turn on. Yep. That sounds like it. Yeah, it just sounds like it's just humming away there, but no, believe me, it is spinning. Is the valve open, actually? Nope, I closed the valve, I guess. There we go. The valve is open. It is now running and circulating water again. Let me finish up with that wire cap there just by turning the power off first. Right, so I left the screw on this when I took this pump off, or took the motor off. So everything's already there. Everything's nicely wired. Now it's just persuading all of this wiring back in. Close enough. All right, there we go. All right. Okay, so, by the way, all these relays are the exact same. So, high temperature relay, and of course it's not calling. The recirculator, and that clicked. So, that's off and going. All right, now the two boilers. And so, you go there, and that's one. And that's two. Turn you back on, and we'll just quickly verify. Oh yeah, you look good and happy. Yep, you look good too. All right, well, these things are going to take a little while to get back up to temperature, but other than that, we're done. So, yeah, okay, that didn't take too long to do this repair. I'll probably have to come back to drain and refill the air tank before the end of the year or before the spring. But other than that, cold season is pretty much over, so wasting gas trying to heat this place is no longer going to be much of a problem. Well, I hope you enjoyed me having to go through and take care of that one coupler. And until next time, have a good one.